if we go to the first clip where it was a little bit cloudy, here what we can do is that here, I don't know if you remember, we left it at just by making this image look really nice. You know, there was a color boost here, and here there's nothing. So first thing what we can do is that color grade with the curves, or maybe what we can do is that just do color grade with color slicer. So I would just node label it color slice. I want to just do some things with the green and maybe reduce the red here. So I would go to color slice, because if you don't really want to do too much crazy color grading, color slice is a really good tool. So with greens, what I would do, I would just first check greens, yes, that is selected. Maybe reduce down the density, increase the density, so that reduces the brightness, and maybe reduce the saturation a little bit. So I did it here with the saturation, and so let's see before and after. And now we also going to take care of reds, because I think it's too bright. I want to give a bit more dramatic look in this image. So yep, that is red, but I see that her face is also being selected, so I will just click here. Maybe try to move the center point to see what we can do. So here maybe what we can do is, I wouldn't do anything here, maybe make another node, or maybe make a parallel node here. And what I would do, I just want the settings to be on her jacket. So I would just go to Windows, maybe make a, you know, boundary around her jacket, not the face at all. And now if I select red, so now everything what I would do would be just changing this area, not the face. So now if I go to color slicer, and now if I select red, still selecting the face, it's weird. But now even if it selects, if I do any change, it would only be in this area. So with this, what I would do, I would maybe reduce the brightness of the red a little bit and reduce the saturation. So this was before and this is after, because I want this image to look a bit more dramatic. So this was before, this is after. For some reason, my Sony camera makes the reds too bright, like this jacket makes it too bright. So what I would do, maybe that as a master frame. Here I would start putting the primary. So here I would maybe do color slice reds. Other things I don't really want to change. So let's see what we did with the color slicer before and after. Just reduce the brightness of the grass and the reds. And now let's go to primary color wheels, and here what I want to do. Here I want to make it a bit more dramatic, a bit more cooler, maybe a bit more greenish side. So I'm just bringing it a bit more towards, you know, the green bluish side. It's not really warm. I want to make it, give it a bit more cool look. And then here in the lift, I want to maybe increase the lift so that the shadows are a bit lifted with the reds. So this is the before and this is after. So you see, just by doing tweaking a little bit of color, now you have this look. But now, so if you go node label, color look, get rid of the clip. And here I'm going to show you something really cool. So earlier we were just doing the parallel nodes, you know. So what parallel did was the same information was going here. Now we want to do layers. And what layer does is that if I just add node and add the node as a layer, what this is going to do is that this would make this image look like it's a new image coming from here. I am just seeing this, yeah. What is my goal here is I want to have this, the look what I created here. If I disable this, the look what I created here looks really nice and dramatic, but I don't want that look to be on her face, yeah. So what I would do, I made another layer, and here I would deselect the face or change the color of the face. So what I would do, I would go to qualifier here and I would select the face, and then I would go to the qualifier here so that I can see what is selected, and here I can change the selection, what is even being selected. So here I think the face is a little bit selected. I will just reduce it down. I will just be here so that I show that the face is out. So here what happened was, if I go up, here you can see that the face is not the same color look as we did that. The face is standing out because we made it a separate layer. So this layer is like it's on the top of the color look, but it does not have the same setting as the color look. And here there was a window where we deselected the face, and here there is a window where we did the color grading, and here is a window which is a mixture of the color grading what we did and the deselection what we did. And what I can also do is that maybe this looks a bit more maybe unreal, that everything is greenish and the face looks a bit more reddish. To blend in, what I can do, I can select this node and then I go here to, and then I go here to the key. And this is the gain of how intense this node is. If it goes all the way 0, so every effect from this node is gone. But if we make it to say 50 or 50, like halfway or about 60, then it looks like it's kind of blending in. So you see, it was the face before, after we color graded. This was the face after when we selected it. So this key is, for example, if we did the exposure here, if this was the effect due to exposure, if you want to reduce the effect of just that node, if we go to key output and reduce it all the way to 0, then there's no effect because of that node. And if you want to give a partial effect, then you can go to 0.5, 0.8, whatever you want. But that was just an example. But this key setting we usually use when we are using LUTs, because sometimes if you put a LUT on an image that is too intense, some sort of filter, so you can reduce the intensity by going to the key. But yeah, so that was the layers. When do we use layers? In parallel, what happens is everything what comes out in this node is a mixture of this and this, because we made a node in parallel. Here we made a node in layers. So what is coming out here in the output is the effect what happened with the color look node minus the effect what happened on this node. So this minus this equals this. Here was this plus this equals the result here. So that's when we use layer node. And that's how you use the primary color wheels to give a certain look to an image. And what there is also a really cool thing in DaVinci Resolve is called a power grade option. What power grade does is that, so if you go to gallery here on left hand side, and then you have stills, which is the stills from this, and also what you can do is that you go to power grade, which is here, and then you can also grab still, and this still would be in the power grade. So now what happens is that, for example, if I open some other project, say this one, if I open some other project, and if I had this clip here where it is completely different project than what we were doing in DaVinci Resolve, because there's nothing in stills, but there would be things in power grade. So power grade is like a template what you can save in DaVinci Resolve, and you can bring back that template every time when you're editing. So if we just put this neutral look, it is in that picture and it's looking pretty neutral. But if we had this power grade from one of the hiking videos, what we did, if you go full screen, even just with one click, we changed from this to this look. but sometimes you of course have to change the white balance and exposure. So that's when you can also use power grade option. And yeah, next we have the timeline. So if you have timelines, you can see all the clips here. But let's go back to the previous project. So to switch back to the project, you can also just press this arrow and go to DaVinci Resolve 19. Yeah, this is how you can also switch from one project to another. And now what you can do, you might have seen a lot of creators, they export stills from the videos. So I will go to color grade, I will choose whatever frame I want to be the still. If this frame I want to be as a still, I'll go grab still. And then what I would do, I would go export, and export, I can export it as JPEG. What you can also do is that whatever clip you are on, you can go to file, then you can go to export as current frame as still, and then DaVinci would, show that current frame to export the current frame in JPEG or any other file format, whatever you want. So yeah, that's how you can export frames as well. One more thing what you can do, I showed you before this toggle button. So there's one button which is for the clip, and there's one button which is for the timeline. So for example, if I go option S, make another node, whatever changes I would do here, for example, what I do is that I usually make things softer to make it look a bit more dreamy in some videos. So here I change the details, this midtones, which is available in the primary color wheels. And by changing it here, this setting would be on the entire timeline. So yeah, if you want to have a universal change, you can just go here on the right hand side on the top in the toggle, and then you go to timeline. And if I have to go back to the clip, then I go back to the clip. And now if I see all my other frames, what we have here, they are all a bit softer. So if we go full screen before and after, so you can see that all the frames are softer before and after. I would just disable it. So yeah, you can do any sort of changes in the entire timeline by just going here. So yeah, these little things would save so much time for you. And in the next section, we're gonna be editing some advanced clip. Some clips which is shot on a bit more professional cameras and a bit more professional format. So let's go.